Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I'm 10 Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, glad to be here today.
Yep, and today we're talking about previous evolutions, which are something that I think are pretty interesting in the Pokemon TCG. That I personally, I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts on them. I don't usually talk about them because most of them are actually, so most of the cards in the Pokemon TCG, or at least a lot of them are previous evolutions and aren't really that interesting most of the time. Uncommon Fossil, what are your thoughts just in general on previous evolutions, or do you not really have any off the top of your head?
No, pre-evolution. I think it's an interesting topic. They get overlooked, like you said, because it's really the final evolutions are really generally the showpieces. But there are some pre-evolutions that are very important. Both either just we'll get into different ways they do it, but there's some pre-evolutions that are even better in some cases than the final evolutions. Those are few and far between. But obviously deck constructing, considering the pre-evolutions, is a big deal. A lot of times it's small margins, but there are ones that offer big advantages too.
Yeah, I will say I feel like most previous evolutions though aren't like very interesting, which I don't like. I wish that they would do stuff. Like some of them are okay. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different ones here. We're mostly talking about good ones, but there are lots of ones that are pretty much just filler. Even within the decks that they're played in, like Dreepy, that's played in Dragapult, or like the Charmanders. Those don't really matter. Like there are different Charmanders, so it matters a little bit, but it doesn't matter that much. They're not like ever cards you play on their own. And they don't really have much value, which I don't know. I feel like it would be cooler if they were better. I mean, I'd always like to see more good cards. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the time it's I don't know. I wish that there were more unique previous evolutions.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, the reality is there's just a lot of filler Pokemon, right? Both pre-evolutions and even final evolutions. There's just a lot of just not very good cards. Period.
Yeah, but you can be like not super strong and also be more interesting. Like a lot of them are generic stat lines. Versus, I think Pokemon has done a good job of making their final evolutions more interesting over time. Um, but I don't know. I feel like they're still working on it with the pre-evolutions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they just get less attention. I think by players, but probably by the developers too. I suspect, right? I mean, they think about it. I'm not saying they don't, but it's getting those final evolutions are kind of get the most of the attention. I just have to assume.
Yeah. But where do you want to start? Do you want to start with newer cards or yeah, I don't know. Do you not care? Should I just get us kicked off?
Well, why don't we start with one that's coming out in the next set? So we're thinking about it. It's a reprint, sort of, and that's electric. Although you can't play the old electric in standard.
That's out. That's out.
Oh, it's out. I apologize. It's out. So yeah, we'll talk about that. You actually can't play the old electric. It's the same. I think it's the same exact card. I think the art might be different, but uh, so a stage one, it's got the great ability Dynamotor. The new card's Dynamotor as well. This is the new card I'm looking at here. So, and accelerated basic lightning from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's been that we had Flappy before that did the same thing. Electric, which was an older card, and is back again. A very good ability, right, for lightning decks. It's been a meaningful card in the past. I'm not sure how much play it's getting now, but it does have a final evolution, which I don't even remember what that is. I gotta say, because it usually hasn't been very good.
Yeah, it's got Electros. I don't think Electros has had really any super strong cards. There's one okay Electros played in Pikarom, but that's actually like kind of different because you just play it kind of like as a basic. So that doesn't really count. But yeah, Electric is again, you said it's kind of weird because it's like a reprint kind of, but not exactly. And so it's very close to a reprint. But it's a card that is like it is good for what it does. And again, you're not really playing the Electros. I feel like it's pretty cool. In some ways, it's like not really a previous evolution because you're not really ever playing the final evolution here. And also, we've seen cards exactly like this, or pretty much exactly like this, like Bronzong and Malamar. Well, actually, I think the Bronzong was technically a previous evolution because there's a Bronzor break, but whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. But you have like Malamar and stuff, and those cards are like the same, right? And so they're different types, but they're the same idea. And then it's like they're like just as good, I guess, because they are. but they're not, they're like stage ones, but they're not previous evolution. So it's kind of weird with electric. And I'll also toss in a different Pokemon here, Matang as well. I feel like Matang
Yeah.
is a similar idea. It's not as good. Matang's okay though, and again, you're not really playing it with the Metagross. Metagross is okay though. There are like better Metagrosses, but they're still not like that good. There's I don't know. There are some that they do see some play because of Matang being good, which I think is kind of cool. I like that the previous evolutions kind of encourage the play of the final evolution if the previous evolution's good, which you don't see that often, but you see some, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, right, because the Matang was played with the right the original form Dialga V Star, and this is the way to power it up, which made for a very powerful attack when you could do it. But I don't believe, which I played. I'm sure you played that some too, but I don't know that it ever played the Metagross in the deck. Right? It was you just wanted the stage one, and the stage two basically got no thought, for no consideration almost, which is
Yeah, pretty
unusual.
little play here.
Yeah.
There's some play. I'm looking though. There's the one from the same set, which has seen some play. It's not super good, but it's okay. Like not terrible. As with any of these, like the Electros is kind of bad. Actually, the Electros is pretty bad here, but um, again, you are like kind of considering some thought in it, and there was like some Ambroses that were paired with Flaffy, I think, especially if you look at like because we're talking like really standard, but if you look at like some like GLC, then you'll definitely be looking more towards the stage two because it has more value. But there's a lot of
Yeah.
different things going on. It's a different format for and so that means that you will have reasons to not evolve it as well because you can only play one copy. But anyways, electric I think is pretty cool. Again, we have seen like the idea was that this was the electric. The first one was reprinted into Flaffy, so I think it's like they purposely made them both previous evolutions. I will say the a Flaffy line here, though, the specifically looking at older formats, there is a good Marie. This one, we can kind of sidetracked. I don't know. We're just kind of drifting around here. But there is a Marie with this ability, if it's in the active, you can make your opponents active asleep, which is pretty good. This was played by itself, but then if you look at other formats, like expanded or whatever, then if you're playing Flaffy, then Mareep is like really nice. It's like a little squishy, but it's not that big of a deal. And notably, though, it has a useful ability. So you have a previous evolution. Like both previous evolutions are good, and sometimes you're not even playing the final evolution. Um, so you're just playing the Mareep and the Flaffy, which is like kind of interesting. Because there have been certainly good Amphrosts. I do think that Ampharos from Lost Thunder or whatever is okay. A big fan of theme. We're talking about all the formats here, but that was kind of cool. But you're not necessarily like doing that. But anyways, like you have a cool line, and I really like a full evolution line that's like good. We'll talk about some other ones. I don't think all the pieces need to be amazing, but I feel like there should be reasons to play all of them and to use all of them, and you do have that with that Flaffy line.
Yeah, that is one, right? The Ampharos, which you lost zone two energies, and your opponent's paralyzed, very, very powerful ability there. Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about some of the boring ones for a minute? Because we don't want to dwell on that, but I think we need to hit some. Is that
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about I guess Dynamo because we're talking about the electric. So there are some Dynamos. I believe the best one, like objectively, I don't know if objectively, but like from a not accounting for power creep, is the newest one. Does have free retreat here and 40 HP and heals 10 from yourself, which is like super bad healing 10 from yourself when you only have 40 HP. But you got that, and then you have some different ones. So looking at the older Dynamos, I'm not super familiar with them, but there is one that has free retreat, which is like kind of cool. But it has 30 HP and it stacks pretty bad. There's one that can flip a coin and paralyze, though. That's a bit more interesting because it allows you to I mean, you can paralyze your opponent, which can be
yeah?
good, but it is like kind of sketchy. It's not insanely good. It's not really something you want to be using that often, realistically. But you could use it more if you wanted. There was a Victini that you could like pair with it, so there was some stuff going on. I just searched Victini and how I see these red Victinis from White Flare, which are and Black Bolt, which I think are kind of, I don't know, they look kind of ugly and limitless at least. Maybe they look good physically, but anyways, yeah, you had a Victini which you could pair with Electric. I'm pretty sure, I believe that was done. I can't actually find it. It wasn't like
Okay.
that common, I don't think. But anyways, there are like some cool ideas with the Tino, but mostly it's pretty boring. And if you look at, I'm just gonna go to the most recent. I'll go to the most recent regular set, Destined Rivals. Look at the first three previous evolutions. We got a Yanma. which like forces your opponent's active to switch and does 30 for 2. That's like not that good. Pine Echo here is going to do 10 for 1 colorless and a 7 HP and 2 retreat. Nothing special. And Shroomish here, 30 for 2 colorless, 60 HP, 1 retreat. So like almost nothing is going on with those. Um, most have relatively little going on with them. Um, so that's like, you don't really see too much. Like if you look at even something like Ethan Syndical here, doing 30 for 1 fire and then discarding the energy from it, which is kind of like what you see on, I think, a Charmander. It's the attack Ember. So that's like fine, I guess, but it's nothing super spectacular. So, most previous evolutions are pretty uninteresting and uninspired, and don't really have to do with the other, like the final evolution either. It's not like there's synergy at all. Some are similar, and we're going to talk about this, how they relate to their final evolution some later on. But yeah, again, most of them are pretty flat, and there are some that are more interesting. But and obviously there are some that are really interesting, but most are again like relatively boring.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time, if you're playing an evolved Pokemon, you have to play the pre-evolutions, or at least the basic. Obviously, you can rare candy over the stage one, so you have to. And usually, there's more than one Pokemon to choose from. I think so. It then a lot of, but it's the the small stuff. What's the retreat cost? You want less retreat cost. A lot of times, that's the driver. Is the HP a little higher? Doesn't have an attack that's maybe sort of viable, because a lot of times the attacks aren't good, right? Those are kind of the basic things. Then kind of what starts to make it better is, does it have an attack like that puts other gets you something, like puts basic Pokemon onto the bench? Is if you get that, then that's like usually what you go to if that's a pre-evolution, which is good. It's not like mind breaking, but it's useful there. Is what I'll say. I'm going to jump topics here, jump cards, because you brought up Destined Rivals. You said the first three weren't good, but the fourth one actually is good, right? So, because that is the
Cynthia's Roselia,
what?
the
That's not
fifth one,
that's not a pre-evolution, is it? Is there a stage two?
stage one.
Is the stage one, but is there a stage two that goes from it? I'm talking about the
No,
next
there's the there's
pre-evolution.
the first. Sorry, this is like a thing, but there's Yanma, there's Pineco, there's Shroomish, and there's Cynthia's Roselia.
Right, those three, which weren't good, but
That's
then,
four. I just said four.
oh yeah, okay, whatever. So the next one after that, I'm not
Yeah, Dwebble.
gonna wait, Dwebble or Dweeble? I don't know.
I think it's Dwebble.
Okay, is very good, right? Or it's good.
Well, it's okay. It's not something you'd play by itself. Definitely. It just
No,
doesn't do anything.
correct. Its attack is important, though, right? So it's got an Ascension attack, and there's other Pokemon with the Ascension attack, right? For 1 energy, search your deck for Pokemon that evolves from it, put it onto it, and of course the Crustal that it evolves into is immune from attacks from EXs. So, which it needs to be something like that, because otherwise you just evolve into another stage one that just gets knocked out, doesn't do you much good. But an Ascension attack is good, right? I don't know if you have like there was the Galarian. The wheezing, which evolved from the right
Coughing. Yeah.
the coughing, right, that had an ascension attack, and other Pokemon like that. So ascension attack is a good staple attack too.
Yeah, what you see on some Pokemon. And I will also mention EVs. There's a few different EVs. There's an EV with Ascension, which you played, but there are EVs with different abilities as well to evolve quicker.
Yep.
And those are like potentially stronger than Ascension. Some are like a similar idea as well. So evolving quickly is like something that's cool. It's not obviously something that you play in Evolution or previous Evolution for just on its own because it doesn't do anything, but it does add. I was gonna say, yeah, it adds value. It's not like insanely interesting. It's kind of just like bypassing a basic rule of the game. But like it's not like completely. I'm not saying it's like the way I said it, it sounded like it was bad. It's not, but it's just something that's different, but not like super crazy either. I will also say though, Dwebble, there's a different Dwebble as well. There's a Dwebble from Black. Wait, was it? I think it's from Black Bolt. Is it from White Flare? Yeah, it's from Black Bolt here. Which I've actually been playing recently. It's okay. It's not bad. And it has the attack here, Flail for 1 colorless. It does 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And I need to talk about a card that we both really enjoy playing with, which is Relicanth. Right,
Yeah.
Relicanth is, I think, one of the most interesting cards regarding previous evolutions. It's not a previous evolution itself, of course, but it is a card that actually interacts with them really heavily with its ability Memory Die, which says that each year evolved Pokemon can use any attacks of its previous evolution. And with Dwebble, it's really interesting because you're like a walling based deck, and then you're able to wall off most big Pokemon, but your opponent will be chipping away at you with weaker Pokemon. And then Crustle attack's kind of bad, so Dwebble's Flail attack actually is potentially better. this isn't done that much, but we've seen it more with where is it? It's the Milotic
Yeah.
with the yeah, Milotic EX here with Feebas, and it was paired with Feraligatr. So that was kind of interesting to copy the previous evolution attack. It's not like insanely good, but it is kind of interesting here. And I think Relicanth is really cool.
Yeah, no, I like
Oh,
Relicanth
my
is
voice.
fun. It's the abilities on a basic Pokemon, which is nice there, and yeah, you use your attacks from your previous evolutions. So yeah, I mean that's good, and it makes these choices for the pre-evolutions a lot more meaningful. There was like the from the theme deck, the I don't know if you have it in these cards you selected, but was it the Empoleon,
Right.
right? Which
Hmm.
that has an attack on that Pokemon that essentially does the Ascension, right? You can copy attacks from the pre-evolutions, which of course makes those pre-evolutions important there that you're choosing. And there were some good attacks there. It worked well. And all right, is was there a tool that has the same thing as a memory drive? There was, right?
Um, Yeah, yeah. There's memory capsule. Memory capsule is kind of special because so this card was is like it was used some for what it does, but it was used for not that as well. It was used for it won the world championship with where is this? I can't find it, but it did. I wait, no, it might not have actually won it. I'm not sure. It looks like it actually came in second place, but it worked with the a Jolteon here. Also, sorry about my voice, but Jolteon has the ability Thunderous Awakening, and there's also a Flareon and a Vaporeon with like the kind of the same ability, but if it has the tool memory capsule attached to it, then water Pokemon in play, both yours and opponents have no abilities. This was specifically used to counter the Inteleon engine, I believe, was the main thing. There was also, I think, Manphy at the time, but I don't know how useful that was to be countering that. Um, with Jolteon. But anyways, Jolteon was like a pretty interesting card and also allowed you to use a memory capsule. And this was useful for I don't know, it wasn't like insanely useful, but it gave you some different options to do. Which was cool, but I don't know, I don't remember playing it that much. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I played it with anything. Oh, there's a Gyarados V with a similar attack to what we've been talking about. Get angry for 3 energy here. It does 20 for each damage counter on it, which is the basic. And then the VMAX, the evolution here has more HP and like kind of bad attacks. So you can copy the previous evolution for a really strong attack, which again is like kind of cool. The same idea as well.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of structure to our plan here, so we're a bit wandering, and I'm going to wander a little more. Hopefully, it's not getting too annoying. But because you brought up the Jolteon, this is my connection. I called up this deck that won one of the London Opens that year. It was there to counter at the Inteleon engine, right? Because it shut down the Inteleon's ability, which is we're going to talk about that. But also in terms of the pre evolutions, that the Eevee in the deck had the V search, VEE dash search attack for 1 energy, search for 3 Pokemon V. So that is a useful attack in a pre-evolution as well. So that which makes sense why that's in the deck because it was a V star box. Well, even it was a Flying Pikachu deck, I guess, was with Arceus. So
Wait, sorry, what list are you looking at? The
uh,
the one that won the.
London
Oh, I'm looking at
Open
the wrong list
yellow.
here.
Um,
No, I am looking at.
it was on the first page of Memory Capsule. When you have the
I'll
card.
say list I'm looking at is playing some other. I clicked on the wrong one. But it has some different cards. It has Machino here as well, which also has like another search
Okay.
attack. So search attacks on previous evolutions are really good.
Yep.
Or sometimes they're really good. Like Alolan Vulpix was a card that was good on its own right, which was a previous evolution, but was played by itself. Most of the time, they're not really played by themselves. Though we'll again talk about some more later on. Also, we do have a Pumpkaboo as well, which again getting I keep going down the road here. But you got the ability Pumpkin Pit, which is another previous evolution, which says when you play it, you discard a stadium in play. And I will actually say Pumpkaboo has had better previous evolutions than final evolutions. I'm pretty sure because we had the Nightmares one as well, um, which also has Joltik, which and Lampent. Oh yeah, I guess all of those are previous evolutions here. I guess Lampent is like good or something. It's not
Okay.
that good, but yeah, you got Joltik as well, which we'll again probably be talking about Joltik later on. But um, yeah, some Pokemon do have better previous evolutions and like no good final evolutions, which is kind of funny.
Right. So let me ask you. What does Pumpkaboo evolve into? Because I don't
It evolves into you don't know. It's no,
I
it's Gorgeist.
Gorg. Oh, okay.
I
I don't.
which has had no good cards, I don't think. But
Okay.
you got some different things going on. Like you got some silly ones, some like spread ones, and some I don't remember. I've not like played with really pretty much any of these cards, but
Yeah.
they exist and they're I don't know. I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what to say about them, but yeah.
All right, just if we want to, it just you since I'm looking at this list here. Also, we don't want to dwell on the V's here, but look at this. The list I'm looking at has a Crobat V. I think I switched the list you have, which evolves to Crobat V Max. Crobat V Max, which is in this deck as well. I played a little. It's not that good, but Crobat V was a very good card for its ability, right? For its Dark Asset ability. So,
Yeah.
right,
So it has so now we need to you brought up something interesting here. That I was going to talk about a little bit later. I guess we'll talk
okay.
about Duraludon now.
Uh,
So yeah, I'll just say so you think so I have Duraludon here, the Duraludon I promise this connects, but Duraludon from Stellar Crown, which has like same idea we've been talking about, damage based on damage counters on it, and so that's like kind of cool with Relicanth and it's used some, and I think that's the best previous evolution to Arcaludon. However, you were saying there's a different one, right?
Yeah, I'm playing expanded, right? So I don't know. I think that's the best one for standard, right? Hammer-On does 30, but I think the Duraludon from Rebel Clash is just better. It's still it gets the HP 130 HP, the same. Retreat cost 2, that's the same, right? The first attack does 30, the same, but it also accelerates an energy from the discard pile to when you bench Pokemon. And then the second attack for 3 energy also does 110, which it's the same with 3 energies as the other Duraludon. That one could scale with more energies, but you're only getting 10 more per energy, so you're not really looking to do that. So I think because the energy acceleration, the Rebel Class Duraludon is better for a deck in expanded format.
Yeah, no, so I kind of agree here. But this actually wasn't the previous evolution when it was printed. So so
That's true.
that's the issue here.
Very
Not that
good.
it's worse, but there are some cards here that are kind of weird. And same thing with Crobat V as well. Crobat V was printed before Crobat V Max. You got a lot of Pokemon like that. And so that's kind of
Yeah.
weird, right? You get cards that are like good because like Duraludon, I mean Duraludon wasn't that good. It was played some in standard with some Zacian V decks. I
Yeah.
didn't really see it used, but it was used a little bit. And then of course it was played. Well, of course for us, I guess, played in theme, right? Where it's like kind of good. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of fun, and it was like decent on its own. But then, and then the other Duraludons are previous evolution. Well, then the newer ones are previous evolutions because it got a new final evolution, which we see sometimes with different Pokemon. So then that becomes like kind of weird. And also I have in this list here, I have notably Diplin, which I believe Diplin at the time it was released wasn't a previous evolution, which Diplin's like pretty solid.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't like really qualify, and it gets kind of weird here. With a few different cards, but again, for the most part, like sometimes Pokemon designs previous evolutions to be good, and sometimes they design them to be good because they are the final evolution, and they become not the final evolution, which is kind of funny. Usually doesn't happen in standard, though. Obviously, it can with like Diplin, but that's like a special case. But then I don't know. You do see like interesting things like that, and I'd say those don't really qualify. I mean, they qualify for obviously playing the game, but they don't qualify for this discussion, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, yeah, like the Diplin and the Arcaludon or the Duraludon. That's an interesting one, right? Your Duraludon is a pre-evolution. The Duraludon I say is better. Was not a pre-evolution at the time. So if you're looking at standard when it came out, it wasn't. If you're looking at expanded format now, it is right a pre-evolution.
Yeah.
That's a little weird. And the V Maxes, the V Maxes don't follow the same rules. So, that's not really. The Crobat was a little odd because the Crobat V came out and the V Max I think came out later. Like the Duraludon, obviously there was 2 different Duraludon Vs. I don't think there was a third one. The older one was the better one. If I like playing Duraludon V Max, I don't think you liked it as much. And the Metal V was better because it had an ability that gave it some protection. So there. So, but again, the V Max is I think boring, and we don't really want to get into that because it has its own
But
rules.
yeah, the Duraludon V also has that one wasn't a previous. Oh, you cut out. I cut out. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. But then yeah, but this one, the Duraludon V wasn't the previous evolution, the first one. But anyways,
Yeah, I
yeah.
get your
So
point.
yeah, we're But anyway, so let's move on to
Yeah.
where do you want to go? Do you want to go older, newer?
W- Um, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the cards people know right now? So why don't?
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about the new set,
Okay.
because there's a bunch of new cards that are from the new sets that are out that recently came out.
Yeah.
I'll just like quickly run through them, and then we can talk about some more specifically. So we do actually have the round attackers, the Temple and the Palpitoad, which are kind of the same as the Seismitoad, except they're not the same. They have the same attack with the same name, which actually matters, and they have like a lower multiplier, which are like okay. You got Tortuga here, which is a previous evolution. It's a fossil, kind of a cool card there, which I think is kind of good. I will say. There's Electric, which we talked about. There's an Elgium, which has some control utility. I don't think it's super good, but it's okay. There is of course, the Drubble we talked about.
Yep.
There's a Carablast, which can evolve quickly. There is I'm sure there's some I'm skipping. Moving on to the other set, the White Flare. Oh, I will also mention the fossils. The fossils are, I'll just like say that like they're kind of funny, kind of weird. Not like Pokemon exactly. They're kind of strange.
Y-
But I mentioned them. Then we have Swadloon here. Swadloon has some like healing. It's not great, but it's okay. Then we have again Shelmet, which corresponds to the Carablast. We've got a Ducklet. I actually kind of want to talk about the Ducklet. Then we got a the Furlish. The Furlish is actually pretty good. It's kind of like Badoo, but it like synergizes with the Electric or the Jellicent EX, but it's not the
Yeah.
same. Then you have is there anything else here? I think that's it. But there's a bunch. There's a lot of really like interesting previous evolutions. Not crazy interesting, but a little bit interesting, and unique from this set.
Yeah, and obviously a little bit interesting is good. In a lot of ways, that's better than crazy interesting, I think, because crazy interesting. I mean, crazy if it's crazy like goofy fun, that's fine. If it's crazy good overpowered, I don't that's not what I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean you got the Herdier here, right? With does a roar attack, you get to switch, or your opponent gets to switch. So that's not as good. Sorry, I take that back.
Yeah, but there is. I do want to talk a bit more about the Ducklet, which is kind of bad.
Okay.
But so I want you to read this card. It's from White Flare here,
Yeah.
and tell me your thoughts on it.
Okay, so Ducklet, 70 HP, one retreat cost. Does 20 for two. All that's pretty bad. So I guess it's for the first attack here. Discard a fire energy from opponent's active Pokemon. Firefighting ability. I mean, attack. It doesn't seem very good, is what I got to say. If you're planning on seeing a lot of fire decks and getting rid of that fire energy is good. I mean, you're just going to get one shot, and with the stage one, isn't all that much better, really. I would say.
Yeah. You don't see the vision here. You don't see it.
I'm missing
So
out. Go ahead.
this card caught my eye. I have not heard any talk about it. I haven't really talked about it. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that good, but it's interesting. So looking at expanded format, there's actually I'm not super familiar with expanded. I think you're less familiar with expanded. So what do you know about expanded? Like the meta game,
It's more varied. I mean, I guess what I'm thinking is with the
like
ducklet,
full expanded, or no,
well,
like in
there's
Japan.
good. Well, here's what I'm thinking is there's good energies that cover all types, right? So therefore, would ducklet get rid of those special energies?
It would, yes.
Would
So it gets rid of the special energies, which is good. And so then looking at so there are not allowed to have any or a lot of expand tournaments. There is like one in Japan every year.
yeah,
But looking at the one last year, the deck, I don't know. There's some deck that I think it won. I think it was playing card. Yeah, so it's playing card the card Firefighter Pikachu, which just it, apparently I've never seen this card. Oh, I saw it, but it's like not out internationally. But it has the same attack here, for one color, so it's good because it's again one colorless on a basic, really nice.
yep,
And this one's actually better because that 70 HP is supposed to Firefight Pikachu has 60 HP, and it's again it can get rid of any type of energy, so that's kind of interesting there. Don't know exactly how good it is. This was played within a control deck, not the Ducklet, but the Firefighter Pikachu. Um, but now it is out internationally, which is kind of cool. Not like super meaningful because let's be honest, who's really playing expanded? But it is it's like an interesting tech card. And as you said, because there are energies that are every type. For example, the best deck in the game is Regidrago. I'm pretty sure, by far, I believe it is Regidrago. With the Regidrago, I can't find it, but Regidrago has it's using different things. It's using some actual fire energies, right? Because it needs fire energies. It's using some basic grass, but it's using double dragon as well. And double dragon energy is 2 energies of any type or of every type. So you can get rid of 2 energies of every type for just this attack, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, like it doesn't look amazing, and it's not amazing, but it is an interesting attack here. That I did want to mention because I don't know, I haven't ever really talked about it before, but I think it's kind
Well,
of cool.
yeah, and I guess if well, and don't forget we do have Prism Energy now, right? And that is every
Yeah.
type if it's to a basic. So if you think you're going to see Prism Energy, I mean, I don't. I get in a control style deck you'd play it, right? I don't think in an attacking deck it does evolve to a stage one that does 120 and discards energy of any type, which of course is much better. You really, if you think there's a lot of Prism, I guess a control deck you want to counter Prism Energy. It could have value,
Like
maybe.
this, what Swana?
What's that? The Swana here, the ducklet evolves into, right?
Yeah, but it's not a control card. It just does
No, that's a,
damage
a damage. Well, you do discard an energy. Oh, from this Pokemon. I'm
from
sorry.
itself.
I
Yeah,
thought it was the opponent's Pokemon. Well, that's even worse. But so ducklet. Yeah. So I read that wrong. So ducklet maybe in a control deck, even in standard now. You could consider it for Prism Energy.
yeah, and Luminous and Neo Upper as well.
Oh
And I
yeah,
guess Reversal. I don't know. I don't think Reversal sees that much play, but and I don't. I also don't think Neo Upper is that good. I know people play it, but I don't like it. Anyways, so yeah, it is an interesting card here. I think. I guess we should talk about a bit more about the Frillish as well. So, what are your
yeah.
thoughts on the Frillish? Because Frillish is interesting. This is, I think, the first previous evolution we're talking about that it's not the same as the final evolution. If you're not familiar, Jellicent EX has its ability, it has some stuff going on, but its main thing is its ability. If it's in the active, your opponent can't play any items or tools from their hand. But then Frillish has the attack here, Oceanic Gloom, and I guess yeah, they are directly related. It's Oceanic Gloom, and Oceanic Curse is the ability on the stage one. And the basic here again, it does it's 1 energy, of course item locks. It does not tool lock here, but it does item lock, and it does 20. So what are your thoughts on this card? How good it is, and its like design and stuff?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is related obviously to the stage one. They're giving item lock. Obviously, there's tool lock as well, which is nice, and it's an ability, so you can still have a separate attack with it. I haven't played it yet. First off, I gotta say I do want to play it. I haven't really seen people playing it in my games, although I've been playing more
Yeah.
expanded. So, but even in standard, I don't think I've seen it a lot. I still think it has potential to be slapped in decks if you have to have psychic energy, right? I think a deck that I play Mimikyu, I'm inclined to put in Frillish or at least consider it. The big problem is the retreat cost is 3. Um, that's a problem, right? Because I don't necessarily want it getting stuck there and just losing because of that. But item lock is good. Item lock on a basic is nice. So I think it has potential. And it's a strong pre-evolution. I would definitely say that.
Yeah, and obviously it's like it works well within Gardevoir. I mean, the Jellicent EX works well within Gardevoir.
Yeah,
Frillish does as well because it's pretty similar to Badoo. We're not really talking about babies here because the babies aren't previous evolutions. I mean, they like kind of are, but they're not. Functionally, they're not. So, well, at least in standard, functionally, they're not.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it is a similar role to Badoo, but then it also is a previous evolution, and obviously Jellicent EX is nice, which is still item locked, so you could say it's similar to Badoo. I mean, it's not really. I'd say Frillish is pretty close. Jellicent
yeah.
is, I mean, it's not like a super strong attacker, so it's more reliant on the item lock than the damage. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting card here. I guess it's kind of boring as well because it's item lock, which can be kind of annoying, but I think there are some cool things going on with it. Um, but now I do want to pivot to some older cards if you're fine with that.
Yeah. Look, let's just talk about Curlia for a second. It's not that
Oh
much
yeah.
older, but you brought up Gardevoir, right? So obviously Curlia, the pre-evolution with the refinement ability
Yeah.
from what sets it from?
Silver Tempest,
So
yeah.
is was just tremendous. It was was just a good card. You could play it. I mean, I played Curly and non-Gardevoir decks too before Gardevoir EX was out, and you'd kind of play Curlier for the engine. You discard one card from hand, draw two. That's just a good ability, period. And and then there was some Gardevoirs that had value, but it was a question of do I play one Gardevoir or do I not play a Gardevoir? And really, you play consider the final evolution only because you were playing the pre-evolution.
Yeah, Gardevoir slash Gallade as well.
Yeah.
Um, I will say, oh well, obviously the Gardevoir EX was good. That's like that could be a duck build around.
Yes.
But yeah, and it is obviously the same ability as Enzoric EX. I will say, you said discard one draw two is always good, but it's not good on a stage two, right?
Yeah, that's fair. It's too slow to get there.
And in literally the Gardevoir in the same set as it has the same ability with the same effect on the stage 2. Like it's discard 1, draw 2 on a stage 2. Which is like that. Um,
Um,
like it's just like it's like the same ability, but it's on stage 2, it's just worse. So it's like why does that exist?
yeah, I mean, I occasionally put it in a deck, right? It does give you 120. It gives you more HP and gives you more damage, but yeah, it's not good, right? Yeah, the ability is the same. So generally, you didn't play the Gardevoir. You might play the Gallade, like you said. That was the evolution, final
Yeah, and there's
evolution.
like a Gardevoir I mean, there's the Gardevoir Palladian Gardevoir EX, I guess,
Yeah,
which was with the earlier set Chilling Reign, I think. Yeah, and Chilling Reign, I will
yeah,
also mention, has the Curlier with Mirage Step, searching for the rest of your curlers and put them onto your bench, which is also good. And we didn't really talk about it, but there are previous evolution splits in decks as well sometimes, which is kind of interesting. And also again there's the Ralts, which had a previous evolution split with memory skip, stopping your opponent from using a certain attack, but it was weaker. So you got some interesting splits there.
Y-
With those different the different options for the previous evolutions.
right. Yeah, yeah. The Gardevoir from Chilling Reign had a nice ability. That kind of, you didn't have to discard. You looked at the top two, and you could accelerate basic energies anywhere you wanted. So that gave a reason to be a step up for its ability. Yeah, a lot of times with the pre-evolutions, as I was thinking about it for like the different attacks and options, like it's the Charizard EX deck for a while. The thought was which of the which stage ones do you want, right? Which Charmeleons are you worried about? They're playing the Mimikyu, and you want to get through that, or do you want to bump those type of decisions, which are important, but they're very fine points, and not trying to talk about. I think things a little more interesting than that today.
Yeah, because those are like there's legitimate debates you can have there,
Yeah.
but also it doesn't really matter in like almost all your games, right? Having 10 more HP can matter. Having a lower tree can matter. Having a useful attack can matter. I mean, obviously, if you have a really good attack, that's good. But if you have like some attack that's like a tiny bit better, it probably doesn't really matter. Or some like effect that like does I know, like you said, just creating a stadium or whatever. So a lot of these things like don't matter that much. But then I think it matters more with like the curlier line, which like, has like had so good cards throughout the years as well. Um, there have been some amazing Gardevoirs, and then now we've seen. I'm not so familiar with the older Curlios and Relts, but like there are some amazing Gardevoirs, and the previous evolutions are also pretty good. So
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting there.
Yeah. So you want to talk about some, yeah, certain like Gardevoir's gotten a lot of love, other lines just don't. But you want to talk about some older cards, right? So what do you want to go back to?
Yeah, I feel like we should talk Inteleon, right? Or well, no, it's fine. We should talk about Drizzile.
That's right.
Drizzile with the ability Shady Dealings on a stage 1 here. Um, you on play from hand when you evolve, you search your deck for any trainer, put it into your hand, and then of course you can use it if it's like an item or whatever. So that's pretty cool here, and it has the same ability name as the Inteleon from the same set, which allowed you to search for 2 Pokemon on evolution, and that card was good. The Drizzile was which was better in your opinion?
Wait, what was that? Sorry. Oh, the
Uh,
Intellions?
Well, yeah, which
Uh,
was the Inteleon with shady dealings or the Drizzile with shady dealings better in your opinion?
Okay, and the important thing to remember is we had Screw Up Net and Format with it, which made it much better. I think the Drizzle was more important,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
because, well, first off, when we had before we had the Chilling Rain Inteleon, Drizzle Inches didn't get a lot of play. Partly there are other engine options, but because of Scoop Up Net, you would get a lot of uses out of the Drizzle, more uses over the course of the game, usually than the Inteleon. The Inteleon could attack certainly, and which was nice at times, but it really was that searching, usually searching for one supporter. I think got you what you needed for the hand most of the time. So I think the Drizzle was the key to it.
Yeah, Drizzile was really nice, and you also mentioned the Chilling Reign Inteleon, which is a different obviously Inteleon different stage 2 there that had like a pinging ability that was pretty cool. It was fun. It wasn't like I don't know. It was fine. I mean, it was good. I'm kind of underrating it here, but it wasn't anything crazy. But then yeah, the Drizzile was like a really important part of the deck, and the Drizzile and the Inteleon from the same set had the same ability, but the stage 2 was stronger, which I feel like works pretty well. of just having the stage one and like this with an ability and stage two with a stronger ability because I mean it's stage two, kind of like what we see with Dusclops and Dusknoir, which I think is kind of cool, right? Because you still have like
Yeah,
Dusknoir is obviously objectively stronger than Dusclops, ignoring stage, but then you need to kind of like decide, oh, do I want to keep going towards the stage two or do I want to settle for the stage one? And you have different
right,
things, decisions like that as well. And I'd say you have the reverse with the Inteleon line. We could Rare Candy straight into the Inteleon or you could Drizzile. And then Inteleon, obviously you'd normally Drizzile, but there are times you'd play Rare Candy and be like, oh, is this what I want to do? Burn resources now, or wait till later or something like that.
right.
But yeah, I think there's interesting decisions with those types of cards.
Yeah, where the stage one is essentially like it's with both of these two are stage ones. I obviously could go with the basic stage one, but where the pre-evolution is a weaker version of the final evolution. With the Drizzles, you rare candy off, and you might like. I think we played a lot of decks in that format for a while, and I think it was maybe one rare candy in the deck that you may or may not use. With the Dust Nor, you're probably more inclined to rare candy, I would think, because you just want to get to that extra damage because you don't use both of it, right? You use the Dusclops or the Dusknoir. So the rare candy isn't. There's no downside to rare candy really.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so, the Dusclops is, and what are your thoughts on just over here? Because like Dusclops is, I don't know, I feel like Dusclops is kind of cool. Actually, no, I want to say my thoughts first. Because
Okay.
Dusclops is cool, and then but there's a big issue. Because we've been talking about expanded a bit. Dusclops like is a big issue for expanded, right? It's not banned,
Yeah.
but it got the Duskull banned, which is actually another cool card. Um, with its ability, I don't remember what's it. Spiritborn Evolution. You discard 3 cards from your hand and you instantly evolve. We talked about some different fast evolution abilities and
Yeah.
attacks and stuff. This one is pretty strong and allowed you to get into the stage one, which is just like do damage turn one. Which it is a cool card because it has like a downside, but the downside can be an upside, discarding cards from your hand as well. So the card has a lot of different utility here. But it's not like super strong. There's also Glaring Meowth with the same
Right.
idea, which helped get it evolved, but also it had, you have a discarding ability, but the discarding ability could also be good. So there's a lot of cool things. I don't remember if the Clan Meowth saw that much play either, but um, yeah, you do have these cool abilities, but it's like it was really it's very problematic and expanded, and led to it being banned. So that's not amazing.
No. Yeah. Uh, yeah. That's where the whole card design thing gets a little weird, right? They design for standard, and then they decide what card's most important for most people, and then they ban the one that's less important. But a lot of times, the less important cards sometimes are more fun cards, right? You can try to do quirky things, and those get taken away in the process. I get it; it's not great. I'm going to bring up a similar card, which I played a lot more than you. You played it too. I like to play Eternus VMAX, and that's Galarian Zigzagoon, which was
Oh yeah.
a pre evolution. You put one damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon when you put it into play, and of course, Eternus, you just wanted to get Pokemon to play. If they're darkness, it's like I don't care what it does. One damage counter, all right, I'll do it, right? And it does have a stage two. It has Galarian Obstacle has a stage one as well. It's not good. The stage two is better. In that it puts 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, but that really did not see much play, right? That's a case where the upgrade to the final evolution was not enough to make it worthwhile for the most part.
Yeah, Glaring Obstagoon, with again with the ability, wasn't played that much for the ability. It was more played for its attack, and it wasn't even played that much. It was the Glaring Obstagoon was played a lot more,
Right.
because I mean it's the basic, right? And you mentioned Scupo Net earlier, so that was really useful there. I think Glaring Obstagoon, it's like a solid walling Pokemon. When it was in standard,
Yeah.
it was pretty good. It's a basic walling Pokemon, but basics were like almost all the best decks at the time it came out, so it was like super good theoretically.
Yeah.
But then it was like kind of mediocre. I mean, kind of just objectively, the attack is kind of whatever. And the ability is like kind of cool, but not amazing. Did you play with Galarian Obstagoon? I don't think I played it much. I might have played it a little bit, but not that much.
I don't know that I ever did. I know obviously some people played it. It was during the online era, so like these limitless tournaments, and it's coming in like usually in the hundreds, somewhere in the hundred range. So it wasn't a strong deck in terms of how it did it. But I know people played with it, and it could be fun. But yeah, and also, obviously you're vulnerable. How much was Escape Rope in format with it too?
Um, I mean, at this point when it was played, it wasn't. I don't believe in format.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
I'm pretty sure it was not in format.
just because this was the walling to basics was an effect of the attack, so if they could double switch you, which they could do with rope boss, then obviously then you just get knocked out.
Yeah,
But
there would have been Fion though in format. I don't
okay.
remember how much I was played. I certainly played some, so that would have been an issue. Um, Wait, I don't think there's boss in the format at this
Was there
point.
no? Okay, interesting.
I don't remember when exactly is this. Yeah, I don't think there's boss. So you might have been okay. I don't remember all the cards in the format at this time. But yeah, there's like some weird things going on.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I mean the idea is that like a previous evolution, like being a lower stage is so much better. Specifically, being a basic is so good. Well, I don't know. I think being a basic is. I think being a stage one is closer to a stage two than a basic. But what are your? I think in the past you've said it's the other way around. You
I
think
I think
being a stage two is a big liability.
I mean, like being a basic with an ability is really good, which is why like you have the medal that Pokemon searches for two metal evolutions, right? Which I'm blanking the name
Yeah,
on
yeah,
now.
the genocide. Yeah.
And because it's on a basic, you can just slap it down and do it is good. Um, I think I think getting to stage ones isn't that hard to do. So um, I don't know which is closer. Obviously, giving up deck space for even a stage one, you have to prepare in advance. So yeah, I guess a basic is. I guess so. I guess any evolution, there's a big gap between a basic and any evolution. I do think stage twos are significantly tougher than stage ones, though. But yeah, there's probably a bigger gap between basic to stage one. I guess you're right about that.
Yeah. But then like, cause especially again with the scoop of that thing, which it allows you to like you return a card to your hand, a Pokemon play to your hand, and so if you have a basic, you can just play. And because Galarian Zigzagoon has an on play ability,
Right.
you can literally just replay it at the turn that you scoop it up. So you could actually like play it down over and over again on the same turn, to get more damage on the board. Not like crazy amounts of damage, but like I mean I was gonna say not crazy amounts of damage. It expanded with Donk. It was kind of crazy amounts of
Yeah.
damage. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of donk in standard, but nothing like those expanded donk decks. They obviously were more effective, and just playing with PTCG days in expanded, those turn they would take like a 5 minute turn, and they'd either knock you out or they would just concede if they didn't knock you out. It wasn't fun to go up against those decks.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about
Yeah,
going a bit older to the not the oldest that we're gonna. I don't know how old we're gonna go back, but we do have an execute. An execute. This card is really cool. This is one of my favorite cards ever. I guess theoretically, like it's pretty fun. From what's it from? Plasma Freeze here, with the ability propagation, and this is a card that is really interesting. I think that I don't know how much you played with. I don't even know how much I played with, but it is a really fun card, which has this ability, which is a really unique ability as well, because it works in the discard pile, returning it to your hand. It does say once per turn. That doesn't actually matter though. You could just do it as much as you want, because of wacky rulings. But yeah, it allows you to recover it from your discard to your hand, as often as you like, and so you have Earthen Vessel or and something else that discards one in standard. I don't know. There's like quick ball. That's what I'm thinking of. There's ultra ball which discards two. But anyways, you got some executes, and so then you like don't need to pay the cost for the discarding, or you can if you really want to as well. So it's like super versatile. You can just get it whenever you want to. Theoretically, it could be ability locked as well, and like expanded is not really any ability locked. It could be, I guess, by Garbodor, but in like I was gonna say live expanded can't get ability locked, but you can't play it there. So execute is though it's like a really interesting ability, right? And it's very unique as well. The only card that I think, oh, there's some that recover themselves to your bench, like Giratina or Gengar or something. But the card I think is most similar is actually the supported card Grant. Maybe right?
yeah, that goes from the discard into your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Grant can do the same thing. Yeah, that's an interesting comparison when I thought of that. But yeah,
But yeah, what are your thoughts on? I mean, this card in like comparing it to the final evolution, or like the execute and the, or sorry, the executor. I think there's an executor that this, or in yeah, an executor that this worked with at some point. I don't remember what it was. Um, I thought there's one that like discards Pokemon from your hand or something like that that worked with it, but I think it's not really like a super serious thing. There have been some executors that have seen play, but not like that much. So it's definitely like a kind of a weird combo. Oh yeah, there's an lonely executor um, from from Team Up apparently that saw play in expanded a little. I guess it seems kind of bad, but anyways, um, yeah. So there's definitely some weird wacky things here.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've actually played Executor more than Execute as a Pokemon. Or
Okay,
well,
but
or
with
I,
what
well,
executor?
I mean, I meant to use the final. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember that because it was. I mean, it wasn't a great deck. I was just trying to do. I don't remember which one. If it was the Psychic or a Grass one. I'm trying to look through.
Oh
None
yeah, I
of.
think it was the psychic one. I
So,
went one of those.
so I was just trying to make something work. Right, we're having fun. But because here's the thing. The old Execute is the better card. I can't deny that. You can't play it in live expanded, so I haven't played it there. And back in the PTCGO days, with the way the economy worked, the executes were really expensive, and I couldn't get it. So I never played. So basically, I don't think I've never played with the execute with propagation ever. I hope to one day, right? Someday live will get full expanded, and I can do it. But
Surely,
so
surely
so
that'd be
I've never
absurd if
used.
it didn't.
I've never used it. In expanded, I would obviously when I played up against those donk decks, I'd watch them play executes like 1,000 times over, and I just waited out for the game to end because it still was 50-50 whether you won or lost. But so my thoughts on execute are basically all negative and traumatic for me.
Yeah, no, I think I played it some in Legacy. Legacy at the time in which I played it, played
Yeah,
Wendy's Gen Line. If you're not familiar with Legacy, it's like an old standard, but it's like a little bit different. It's like it's bigger than standard. It's a weird format, and it had some substantial issues at the time. You mentioned the economy, which was a big issue for Legacy. It wasn't. It was a big issue for Expanded, but it was a bigger issue in my opinion for Legacy.
yeah,
And then there was a lot of issues, but execute was really cool. There was we were talking about Discord 2. Oh, this is like coming full circle. I'd say Discord 1 draw 2, but not good on the stage 2. But there was the Empoleon, which is a solid attacker at the time, and its ability was decent as well. I mean, it's Discord 1 draw 2. Um, when you compare it with execute, so you could just instead of discard 1 draw 2, you could just pair it with the execute, and now it's just draw 2 every turn, every time you use the ability, which is like super good.
yeah.
Not insanely good for a stage 2. It's like pretty solid. Um, but then that was pretty fun. And I think it was the only viable single prize deck. Well, no, actually that's not true. I think the best deck was actually Control, but like no one played that. No one really played Legacy anyways. But yeah, you got some kind of cool things there. You there are a lot of bots is the issue. But this is a lot of us talking about our old experiences. But yeah, execute is a really cool ability that is like super unique. I really hope they bring it back. I don't think they will. It's not. I don't think it's like super broken. I don't know. It's a strong card, inexpanded for some things in particular, but it's just kind of good in general. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool here.
Yeah, I mean the risk is, and I think they'd have to be very careful with it. It can lead to degenerate decks kind of being good, right? It can let those niche things that they don't really want to take over the game be really strong. So you got to be
Like what? I feel like you're just like thinking about Donk, which like I don't even know how much it uses execute. Maybe a lot. I don't remember
well.
though.
You played like there was the deck where you would expand and contract your bench, and I think you needed to use execute along the way with that one too, right?
Um, I don't
Maybe
remember.
not. I don't
No,
remember.
that was different. That was a turn disc.
Okay. Well, it
Um,
wasn't a turn.
but
Yeah, an expanded format of Eternus. I don't. Look, it's just it allows you unlimited discard, and part of the cost for playing like Ultra Ball is you're discarding cards and you're hurting yourself in the process of getting something. So you're having a trade off. Execute lets you get rid of the negative consequence to it, and I think that therefore it makes an item like Ultra Ball just better, right, than it's meant to be. At least it has that danger.
yeah, no, that is true. I don't know. I think that's kind of what Expand is about. With lots of weird things, right? Like
Oh,
like Battle Compressor as well, and things like that.
I get it for expanded, or at least someday we'll get it back and expanded. But I don't know that they don't want standard to be like that though, right? So I think they'd be very hesitant. I don't think they're going to reprint a propagation ability again for standard. It'd be my guess.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm trying to think of like if there's anything that we missed. Oh, we didn't talk about Drake. We should probably talk about Drake, shouldn't
Yeah,
we?
yeah, definitely. So Drake Loke, it's got obviously for Dragapult's very good and standard. And the Drake Loke's not a bad attacker. It one shots Mimikyu if it doesn't have a tool to boost its HP. But then it's got a very nice ability, Recon Directive. Look at the top two cards in your deck, put one in your hand, put the other on the bottom of the deck. There was the Pidgeotto. I'll get those
Yeah, Pidgeotto.
Pidgeotto back if you play the theme deck days, or probably it was in standard or at the time as well with the same ability. So, which is just a very nice ability. Dracloak now. I don't think you're playing Dracloak on its own as an engine. I know you've talked about that at times. I don't know if you've actually done it, but it's obviously a very nice engine for Dragapult, and it makes it potentially a deck just with Dragapult because it has its own engine. So, it is a very nice card.
Yeah, I've seen it some in Goldengo and I think
Okay.
in Ethan's, where it's been just played as a stage one without the Dragapult, and I've certainly
Yeah.
seen lists as well um, that are
Oh
running it
yeah.
like just one Dragapult. That's not super common. I mean, like Dragapult EX is so good at like if you're playing Dracloak, why not play Dragapult? And then all of a sudden your deck's Dragapult. But it's a card that's like it's not at all similar to Dragapult. I mean, I guess they both do 70, but and they have the same attack cost, but they're not really
Yeah.
similar. I guess it's the same type, but like obviously they're the same type. So um I think it's really interesting seeing these evolutions. They're like super different. Like even if you look at something like Curlia and Gardevoir EX,
Right.
the Curlia with the discard one draw two, and then Gardevoir EX with its energy acceleration ability, they're still both support Pokemon. They're both cards that like they kind of synergize with their abilities together. Dragapult EX has no ability. I mean, it has like that weird Terra thing, but that's not an ability. It has
Right.
a really strong attack, and Dracloak is a Pokemon, and Dragapult's kind of risky, right? It's like a little bit of an awkward energy cost. It's a stage two, so there's a lot of resources committed to
Yeah.
it. Um, Dracloak is not like that. It's a Pokemon. You want a bunch of Dracloaks on your board, and each Dracloak adds a little bit more draw power to your board. It's a much safer card. It's not really a liability because it's not like tanky, but it's not super squishy for what it is. It's not like it's going to be like trapped. It's not like, it's just not a liability. Its attacks like okay. So it's really interesting seeing just these two completely different Pokemon in my opinion, but they work so well together because you have the Dracloak to even things out, and then you have Dragapult EX for your like the big
Yeah.
focus of the deck as well. So I think it's an interesting combo there.
Yeah. What you have here is two very different Pokemon with the Dragapult and the Dracloak in terms of what they do. But because they're different, they kind of complement each other. They do different parts of the same deck that you want together in the same deck. Um, Dracloak, obviously, Dragapult's very good, so Dracloak sees most of its play in Dragapult decks, but it can be an engine on its own. Um, you know, I may see more. Yeah, I've done it with Goldengo because I do like Goldengo, and if you can put a couple Dracloaks in, and then you're gonna put at least one Dragapult in as well because you do have the different types of energies to pull that tack off as well. So, like so there is that. But yeah, I mean it's a good a Dracloak. That's a nicely designed card, I think, because it's one that certainly sees play. You like it in Dragapult. Well, you love it in Dragapult, and you can use it in other decks potentially. So I design wise, I really like where Dracloak's at.
Yeah, Drake looks a really cool card. In my opinion, I like drifting even more to other formats. I do like the cube draft format. Some theoretically, I don't play it that much because it's kind of long and uh it's like it's a big commitment. But I like mutant, and I think my favorite dragon Pokemon to include is probably Drakeloak. I mean its attacks like it's not like insanely strong, but it could be. You could argue it's like too strong, but it has like a solid ability, a cool attack. It's just like pretty well rounded. So I do like well rounded cards like this that are like good, not like well rounded like they're just not good at anything, which you do see sometimes, but like well rounded as in it's good. It's fun. It's a card I enjoy. I used to play a lot of Control. I really enjoyed playing in Stray Cloak, because it had some interesting like interactions and like back and forth between both players. Like the Control player, you're like thinking about how you can get around the Dracoloak. If you're playing Dragapult, you're thinking how you're getting around the Mimikyu or whatever. So I think there are some cool interactions there as well. I don't know if my opponents found it cool, but I think there can be fun things there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think previous evolutions are interesting. I think they're interesting conversation, and there are cool previous evolutions. I do wish there are more cool ones, but if there's like too much stuff going on, that is an issue as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything we didn't cover that's really cool. I'll shout out Cynthia's Gigabyte quickly
Yeah.
because that card I like it. Also, I'll shout out Joltik. That card's bad. It's not bad, but I figure I should run with it. Joltik's fine. In standard, it's a good card. I just don't love the Joltik Vox deck. I don't think it's. I think some of the synergies are kind of clunky. But yeah, you see Joltik and you see Galvantula played because it evolves from Joltik. It's not an amazing card in its own. It's okay. But with the Joltik, it becomes cool. But I feel like Pokemon's been improving its card design over time as well. Because most of these cards are newer. We looked at like the newest
Yeah.
sets, and there are lots of like there's a good chunk of interesting previous evolutions there.
Yeah, I'm just going to close out real quickly the EVs. You got a couple of them listed here. There's actually three EVs in standard. EV has its own evolving rules, but you got the basic that evolves the turn it's in the active, which is nice. You got the EX, which can, of course, breaks the rules, but it evolves into an EX that evolves from the single prize EV. So you got that, and then you got the one that I played some, which you always mocked me for, but the Ascension EV with the Ascension attack, which I was playing with Sylveon to get that into attack, but now the Crystal's just a little bit better than that. So you have at least three EVs. You had another older EV. You even have an EV with a call for family. So you got a bunch of different options with the pre-evolutions with the EV. There's actually I don't know. There's like 10 EVs or something in format right now, it looks like. So you get a lot of options there.
Yeah, you had a big mess of things, which are kind of fun. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the episode here. It was a bit of a trip down memory lane, a bit winding a trip down memory
Yeah.
lane. But we hope you enjoyed and tell us your thoughts down below on and your experiences with previous evolutions. But we hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, on the YouTube channels 10 Types and Uncommon Fossil. And as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.